Hey guys, welcome back to AFL SuperCoach for 2022. Today's episode, we're talking about all the jargon and all the words that you hear bandied around the SuperCoach community, and you might be thinking, what does that mean? Let's sort it out today. So firstly, a premium. A premium is a player who scores really well, really consistently, and is in a lot of teams for that very reason. So some of the best examples of premium players include Max Gawn, Clayton Oliver, Paddy Dangerfield, Dustin Martin, Jake Lloyd, Jack Steele, Jack McRae, Bontempelli and the like. So because the premium players score so well, the trade-off is that they often have a hefty price tag. So the key thing here is to balance the $10 million salary cap that you start with and choose the best players that you think are going to score very well very early and get your team off to a really good start. So a keeper is a player that you start with at the beginning of the year and you hold on to them throughout the whole season, hence the word keeper. You keep them in your team, or they may be an upgrade target that you find mid-year or 3/4 of the way through, and you want to hold them long-term because they're scoring really, really well and you're going to keep them in your team. So the premium players that we outlined in the first section are often considered to be keepers because they score so well, and a lot of people choose them early on and hold them for the whole season. So a rookie is a player who fits into one of two categories. First is a first to third year player, one who's either just arrived in the system through the national draft, who's 18 years old, or someone that's been in the system for 1 to 2 years, who got drafted a few years before, but they haven't been able to break into the senior team yet. So on the flip side of the coin to a premium, rookies are the cheapest you can buy in SuperCoach, with the cheapest being $102,000 up to a high-priced rookie of about $190,000 to $200,000. Again, the flip side to a rookie is that they're cheap, but their potential is more inconsistent than premiums. So the thing we want to do is spot the really good rookies, the ones that are going to play, which is always a good start, and the ones that we feel are going to score well, that have a good job, have a good role, and that are going to make you money over the season to upgrade your team to those primo keepers we spoke about. So the second category of rookie is what we call a mature age rookie. The mature age rookie is often over 21 years of age, who's been playing for 2 to 3 years, often at state league. So mature age rookies are really good to look for because being a few years older, they have more of a tank, they have more conditioning, and they're used to the system. They know how it works. They've been in there for 3 to 4 years, sometimes even less, depending on their personal backstory. So a mature age rookie is often seen to be ready to go, or ready-made player. So you can pick them, they're going to come into the side and they're going to perform a specific role for the team. One of the best examples of this was Marlon Pickett, who debuted in the grand final for Richmond. Because his first game was in the grand final, the following year he was incredibly cheap to pick in SuperCoach. And I think almost every person that played the game picked them in their starting team. Why? Well, he was cheap, he was a mature age rookie, and he'd proven himself on the biggest day of the year, being the grand final. So he was almost a no-brainer to bring into your SuperCoach team. If he continued the form that he showed in the grand final, he was going to score very well, consistently, he was going to make you a lot of money quickly, and you could then upgrade him to one of the primos we spoke about earlier. So a mid-price player, or a mid-pricer, is a player that is worth in between a rookie and a premium. They sit in the middle of that. Now there's no general concrete figure as to what makes a mid-pricer, but it's usually, as a general rule of thumb, $250,000 to $450,000, $475,000. So there are exceptions, but that's a good rule of thumb to use. Now the problem with mid-prices, as we've explained in other videos, is that their scoring is somewhat inconsistent to the primos. If their scoring was as good as the primos, then they would be a lot more expensive in the game. So DPP stands for dual position player. So a dual position player essentially means that if a player is eligible for the dual position, they can fit into 2 of the lines in SuperCoach. So the most common configurations of a dual position player are the ones that can fit into the defense and the midfield, or those that can fit into the midfield and the forward line. There's also a third one which is not as common, which is a ruck forward, but it does occur. And then there's the rarest of them all, which are those that have a defense and a forward line eligibility as a dual position player. So why should we pick dual position players? First one is that they are great in the bye rounds, or if you have a player that's going to miss a week, you can cover those players with a player that has dual position. For example, if you have a premium in the midfield that is away for a week, let's say they're on COVID protocol or they're injured. If you have a dual position player that has defense and mid, you can swing that player from the defense down into your midfield to cover the points. The second advantage is that you have more flexibility in choosing players to bring into your team because you can move these players around. For example, if I wanted to bring in a premium midfielder and I didn't have a spot left to bring that player in, what you could do is trade out a forward rookie who's made you a lot of money. You could then move the midfielder down into the forward line if they have mid and forward dual position status, which will then open up a free spot in your midfield, and then you'll be able to trade in one of the midfield premiums. And the third advantage to choosing dual position players is that it gives you a bit more flexibility in balancing and structuring up each line on your SuperCoach team. Okay, so cash generation is the ability that you have to fund all of your upgrades that you'll need to get your side to 18 full premium players. It could also be thought of as how much money you hold in your team. Not so much in the bank, but in terms of the rookies that you have and their value, how much they have risen in value over the season. So if you have a good balance between the premium players scoring and the rookies who are growing in value through their scoring, then you're said to have really good cash generation. You have a really good ability to trade rookies if you need to, and that's going to get your upgrades quicker. So the flip side to this, of course, is that if you trade in rookies, they go up in value over the space of a few games to half a season. You then trade them out, but you don't bring in more rookies. You're really limiting your ability to make more money, essentially. And you're going to have to then burn trades if injuries happen or if there's a premium player that you want, but you just can't afford him because you don't have the money in the bank, nor do you have the rookies to fund that upgrade. So what this eventually does is it puts a reliance then on your underperforming premiums. And you don't want to get to the stage where you're trading out premium players, even if they're underperforming, to bring in other premium players. You'd rather do it through rookies that are gaining value throughout the season. So a break even is another crucial thing that we need to understand when we play SuperCoach. So a break even is essentially a concrete number that is assigned to each player, which changes week to week depending on how they score. This number tells us what SuperCoach points a player needs to make to break even. That is, not gain value, but not lose value either. So a player that has a break even of 175 needs to score that number or more to increase in price. If they score under that, then they lose money. Whereas if you had a player with a break even of minus 51 or negative 51, they could run through the banner, trip over a pigeon and still make money. Shout out to Snowman for that reference. So they won't obviously make money if they don't play, but it just goes to show you how easy it is for a player with a very low break even to increase in value. So break even becomes really important when you're trying to look at what rookies to bring in and also what rookies to give the flick to. So the idea of job security is essentially what role does this player have and will they get dropped? Are they likely to be dropped? So some players have great job security, okay? The superstars of the game, obvious reasons. They put bums on seats. The coaches are not going to drop them. The coach is not going to drop Patrick Dangerfield. The coach is not going to drop Max Gawn, okay? These players have great job security. The second category would be captains. Obviously being the captain of the team, they're the leader of the other 17 blokes on the field, so they have good job security as well. So where job security really comes into our minds as SuperCoach players is when we start to look at rookies. Now, rookies are a real gamble. They're hard to pick. They're hard to pick the ones that are going to consistently play week in, week out. You want to get to a stage where you're picking rookies that will play, all being well, fingers crossed, each week, but will also score well. Sometimes when you don't have a good bunch of high-scoring rookies, you'll take rookies that have good job security, but with reduced output. So that's what we need to look for when we're trying to pick our rookies, is the job security. Or, is this player likely to get dropped? If they're not likely to get dropped, it's a gold mine. If you think, one dodgy game and they could get dropped, it might be worth looking at other rookies. So a rookie with great job security is like rolled gold. Even if they don't consistently perform to a premium level in terms of their scoring, they're still going to make a lot of money very quickly because they're playing more games than other rookies, which will allow you to get a leg up on your competition and upgrade to those premium players a lot quicker. Okay, so role. A role is essentially what job does this player have in their respective AFL team. And it's closely related to job security because a lot of teams require players who fill a certain role. So the roles that we have also can determine the scoring potential of a SuperCoach player. Is the SuperCoach player a lockdown defender? Are they a key position forward, which may limit their scoring output? Or are they an inside midfielder who loves the contests? Are they an outside midfielder with a lot of run and carry who has great disposal efficiency by foot, meaning when they kick the ball into their forward line or whoever they're kicking it to, the ball will go to its target. It won't go out of bounds on the full, or it won't go straight to the opposition or anything like that. So some players have jobs which are really SuperCoach friendly. And I mentioned before, the inside midfielders, intercepting defenders, and the outside runners, very, very good for SuperCoach. Others, not so much. Small forwards, lockdown defenders. So as the name suggests, a stepping stone is a player that you bring in that's usually, you think, underpriced for what they can do with their scoring. And you're going to use that player in 6 to 8 weeks to sell them, to get the money to purchase a premium player to upgrade your team. A classic example of this was a few years ago with Tom Liberatore, who returned from a knee injury. He was significantly underpriced, and a lot of players thought he represented really good value. They were going to pick him up and they would hold him for 6 weeks, and in that time he would have made $150,000. Fingers crossed, was their thinking. If he was at $350, he would have made $150K. He would now be worth $500,000. That $500,000, in conjunction with any money that players had in the bank, could be used to upgrade to a really, really good primo player like a Sam Walsh or a Lachie Neale. So finally, a cash cow. Now the cash cow is very similar to what we spoke about with the rookies, the ones that play a lot and score well. Cash cow is a player that you hold, is going to make a lot of money for you very, very quickly, which is going to allow you to upgrade your team a lot quicker. Thanks for watching today, guys. Hope you all learned a little bit in terms of the SuperCoach jargon that you'll see everywhere on different channels, different websites and things like that. Please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comment box below if there's anything I've missed that you would like some clarification on, and I will happily answer your question. Thanks, guys. Catch you next time.